Get your copy of The Church Girl by acclaimed author Stephanie Seaton. This compelling story follows a young woman's journey of redemption through faith and community after straying from the path of righteousness. Rediscover her purpose and meaning in life. Available now on popular online book sites. Don't miss out on The Church Girl, a transformative tale resonating with the power of faith and self-discovery.
Change, but you never once complained. And though I've walked this lonely road of life, you never failed to take my hand. I still believe that dreams come true if you receive. Oh, your love is wide. I still believe.
Lord, open up my heart. Reveal to me what's truly inside, and cleanse me now, oh God, from what I desperately try to hide. This is my prayer. I need forgiveness, and this is my song of repentance. Lord, I waste a lot of time with sin and regret, and I don't still have it all together yet. But oh Lord, would you open up my heart?
The power still works as it did in the days of old. You gotta reach out and touch the hem of his garment. Reach out if you wanna be made whole. You've been to the doctor and the lawyer too. The pain has gotten worse. There's no money to see you through. If you wanted to, you could just cry and frown. But faith says, hold your head up and don't you look down.
hello, and welcome to another amazing episode. Tonight, we have a special tribute for you tonight. I want to call it part two, even though it is a different topic tonight. My brother's keeper. We have an amazing group of guys here. It is a continuation of last month. We had an amazing conversation called Fatherless Fathers. That conversation was so impactful that we knew we had to have another conversation again for men to be able to have a open, safe space to talk, to communicate, to encourage, and to lift each other up. We will be talking about breaking the silence, understanding cultural and society pressures that discourage men from being open. We will be talking about building emotional intelligence, creating supportive networks amongst men, embracing vulnerability amongst men, and encouraging each other in growth and accountability. So this will be an amazing conversation tonight. I want to welcome to the platform. We have Dr. Marcus Wade, which is going to be our host and leader for tonight. We have Dr. Alvin Mason. We have Mr. Yu. We have Carl Roberts, Mr. Motivator.
But me is
So
over.
we have got an amazing group of guys here, and I know these are the right guys for the conversation. The Lord always has a plan. And so I am grateful for you guys accepting the invitation to be here tonight. I am going to release the floor, let you guys have an amazing conversation. And Dr. Wade, please have a great conversation, guys.
All right, thank you very much. Welcome, gentlemen, back again to the platform. We're glad to have you here. Say hello to the audience for us.
How's it going? Hey, how you doing?
All
How y'all
right.
doing? What's going on?
We have a powerhouse in the audience today, and our topic, our theme, our talk today is going to be about my brother's keeper. That's a more of an in-depth topic. It's very global, it's very broad. We want to narrow it down tonight, though, to get some information to the audience, to men, young and old, in between, to get them cultivated toward being vulnerable, being open, being transparent with themselves and then with others. So I know you guys have a lot of information that you can share with this listening audience to getting men back on track in their place and on the right path toward growth and development. One of our goals is we want to think about transformative experience, empowering men to break free from the contradictions of traditional masculinity. What does that really mean, traditional masculinity? What would you say that meant to you, traditional masculinity?
Oh, is there anybody?
Dr. Mason, yeah, the floor is open, most definitely.
Traditional masculinity. I think it's just for me. I think it's this. The alpha males. Representing the standard of being what a man stands for. I mean, whatever that is. I mean, because I think society and so many different platforms have kind of like twisted it, and so many people that got it confused over the last couple of years. But when I hear the word traditional, it makes me think of how things were originally or should have been, or the way God set things out to be. That's what I think of when I hear traditional.
And I like that. I like that thought process. Just to go a little bit different direction. Traditional in our culture that we're in today are men supposed to be this dominant person, not supposed to have feelings, not supposed to have emotions. Don't really know how to nurture. Traditionally, men were that alpha person. However, they didn't know how to cultivate the family like they probably should be cultivating them. I think we got out of that concept. I'll get back to that thought process. So think about that as you're looking at breaking free from what they consider a traditional mindset as we've gone into from raising boys to men, if you will. Okay. What do you think, Mr. Motivator?
I think on a motivational standpoint of traditional, I think being a protector of overseeing, your brother, that safety net. It's always safety net, protecting your family, protecting your loved ones,
Okay.
We stand we being the head. We being the head of the family. So the protection, in my eye.
Okay, what do you think about that, Doctor Mason, dealing with this masculinity and also expressing emotional, healthy ways to connecting with our families, our jobs, as well as even the community, fostering that relationship?
So my concept of traditional masculinity has to do with the fact that we've allowed someone to draw or write the picture, create the narrative by which our manhood should be valued, or the quality of its existence, what a man should or shouldn't do. And
Uh-huh.
when I say that, I said traditional. That's stuff that's been handed down through time, changed, tweaked, or whatever to what according to the environment. Um, and that being said, oftentimes because it has not been as stable as it should be, if it's a genuine experience, I really think that it's caused us to be confused in a lot of areas, because you
Okay,
got certain people or certain cultures that may define masculinity different.
that's so
Right.
true.
I think
We
that's
grew
what
up
I
in
was
an
trying to say.
environment whereby they said, stop crying, you a boy. And I
Yeah.
don't know what that had to do with my boyhood or,
I still got
or my
emotions, buddy. Still
maleness,
got emotions.
but
Yeah.
we created a paradigm in our minds that says I'm less than a man, or I am not masculine because I have tears. And that's weird, because God gave me these tear ducts for a purpose.
Everyone has them, most definitely. And
You
one of
know,
our
so
and one of our
with
concepts, I like that. I like that feedback. Though, think about this as we'll continue to kind of broaden as my brothers keep. How do we create this space then? Y'all gave this aspect of masculinity, was talking about it, get back to traditional role of it. How do we create a safe place for men to be open minded and express without being judged in a certain way? How do we create that safe place? What do you think, Dr. Mason?
I think it starts with us.
Okay.
In order to create a safe place where I'm not being judgmental of others, I have to learn how to stop judging myself on somebody else's grade card.
Okay.
So
That's a
Start with
good,
opening up,
us.
that's a good
opening
answer.
up, allowing myself to explore the things I'm experiencing, and then finding a place by which I could rightly define what it means, instead of just sticking to a definition that's been handed down and changed over the years.
What do you think, Mr. Motivator?
I think I can go with that too, because it's all about communication. And I think just sitting down at the table and having that dialogue with each other, different ages groups, from boys to men, just sit down and let the boys talk too. We don't just talk at the boys. Let them express themselves, express their feelings, and we listen to them. We got two ears and one mouth, so we need
We
to
got to
start
listen.
more and say less. So sitting down and listening, and then we can come up with something.
I
That's what I.
like that. We got to be more attuned to listening to what the men and the
I,
boys are saying, most definitely. Mr. You, what do you think? Chime in with
I
us.
mean, I totally agree with those two gentlemen. Just having that open ear to just listen, and just being available for our brothers. And I feel like sometimes it might feel like we all we got. You know what I'm saying? Being able to relate to one another, and just having no judgment. Being able to open up and talk to each other. I think that's what creates that safe space. If I can feel like I can come to my brother, like Carl and I, we converse all the time over the telephone, and it's just that it's no judgment. You know what I'm saying? And we always saying things to empower and lift each other up. Now, and what I like about Carl and our relationship as well is that we keep it real with one another. You know what I'm saying? We tell each other when we
Mm-hmm.
wrong, when we right. We uplift each other. We do all type of events together out in the community. So we build that safe space with not just with each other, you know what I'm saying, and out in the community, you know what I'm saying. We
It
we
has
we
to
don't
have
just
it.
talk it. We don't just talk it. We walk it too. So I think that also builds that safe space with other men when they see, you know, a conglomerate of men or two men harmonizing or getting along. You know what I'm saying? It kind of like it invites other men in too, and make them feel safe. So just having that open ear and lack of judgment, I think those are key elements of providing a safe space for my brother.
Most definitely. And I want my audience, as they're listening in, to give us some chats in the chat box and ask some questions regarding this topic, and Give us your feedback on it. What does it really mean to be a brother's keeper? Because as we are looking at different men from different organizations, businesses, or churches, we all go through certain aspects of transformation in life. And one of the goals, I don't need to know really what happened. I need to know how I can help you through what happened, right? My
Right.
brother's keeper. If I have to have all the details, that means I may want to share with someone else. I just want to know, how can I help in this situation? What's best for me to do to help you progress through, heal through, change yourself through, challenge yourself through this situation that we're dealing with. And if I
Right.
can keep you strengthened, it's almost like was it Moses in fighting in the wars. He said that he was getting weak. His arm began to
Yeah.
go down, so he brought in Miriam and Aaron, and they lifted up his
Yeah.
arm, and the victory came. He had some help. My
Mm.
brother's keeper hold people up. They don't tear people down. Is that a true statement?
That's true, but
That's a true statement.
I think four things. So for the listeners,
Okay.
the listeners, write this down. Write this down. Four things I think when we could talk about my brother's keeper:
Yeah.
morals, dignity, respect, and your ethics. I think those four things play a big part, guys.
Okay.
Morals, dignity, respect, and your ethics.
I
Play
like
a,
those.
I agree. I'm gonna tell you why I agree about those four things because what we said earlier, as far as like just being able to relate, and when I say relate, not necessarily, I don't have to necessarily have been through what you've been through, right?
Right.
To relate to you coming to me with a situation or seeking help or just being a listening ear is about moral. You know what I'm saying? It's about those things that Carl listed, being able to, what I'm saying, converse back and forth with my brother on certain levels and being able to relate to and understand what he's going through. Not necessarily like I don't have to, but like we all got different stories. We all got different paths and things that we've been through, right?
Right.
So if somebody, one of my brothers called me with a situation, I don't necessarily have to have been through it, what
Yeah.
he's been through to be there for him, if
Right.
that makes sense.
I understand it. What do you think, Mr. Mason, Dr. Mason?
I like it. If I could add one, I'd say honor.
Mm.
Honor. I like that.
You
I
know,
like that.
when
I
men
like the
develop
honor.
honor for each other, but that
ah,
really is what helps. Yeah, that's really what helps bring us to a place of not being judgmental. And so, if I can honor you as who you are without trying to tweak you and change you and fix you and all of
Right.
that kind of stuff, then I may learn something from you,
Right.
which is
mhm.
really the intent. That's how we go and grow, by being open, honoring people where they are, um, and allowing them the opportunity to uh, make any growth factors that they have. But I can appreciate where you are,
Most
period.
definitely. So when
Absolutely.
we hear about holding up Moses' arms, it's a powerful reminder of how collective efforts and support can lead to victory, even in the mindset of weariness. Right? When you're in a weary state. So my word, I will put in there. You had these list of words, right? I'll put humility. Bringing humility to the forefront
Hang it
as
out.
a brother keeper is so important because guess what? If it can happen to you, it can happen to me.
That's
So I'm
right.
humble enough to know that my goal is to make sure that you uplift this so we don't have to go through this again. And if I begin to have that same pathway of going astray, you would come lift me up versus abandon me in the midst of my transition of change, right? So we look at that mindset. My Brother's Keeper is a groundbreaking men's conference that often presents men from expressing their true selves, right?
Mhm.
Now, now you got to think about this concept. This event will bring together men from all diverse backgrounds. So it's not just about African American, Caucasian, Asian. Everyone around the world need to develop this aspect of how do I become a brother's keeper? How do I become this person who's able to be a uplifter to those who may be going through and dealing with this change process within their mindset, their livelihoods, their marriages, their work ethics, even raising their children, right? my brother's keeper in that aspect. So we look at how to explore the importance of emotional openness and to build a supportive community that champion mental and emotional well-being. So one of the thoughts we want to think about tonight is how do we break this silence? How do we break the silence so that men could be able to open up and share? What do you think? Breaking that silence. What does it look like to break the silence? Understanding that culture and societal pressure the society puts on us. How do we break the silence so we can be more open? What do you think, Doctor?
Hmm. Availability is one. Making yourself
Okay.
available to hear. Breaking the silence is not an easy thing, but once you get a group, a collective group that don't mind talking and others see it, it catches on. So pretty much breaking the silence, it could start off as a group, but usually it's a one by one kind of thing. As people
Mm-hmm.
see transparency, as they see that what you're saying, they can feel the honesty in what you're saying, and it makes them feel like, okay, I could share that as well. Because
Okay.
and it'll trigger people to want to share, especially when you say things that are similar to what they themselves have been through, but they've kept it in a closet.
Mm.
Right, right. So creating that space for men to be open and express without judgment. So they
Yes.
have to have that opportunity to do that.
And I
What do you
think
think, Mr. Go ahead, Mr. Motivator.
I think and yeah, I think that's right. Just the support, and if they see everybody, supporting one another, like somebody can be shy and they want to say something, but they don't have that support system where they say that first word so they can get the rest out. They need to get what's out of them, get what's in them and get it out. So
Right.
I think it's our responsibility as men to try to give them that support so we can, can get it out of them. Uphold our end of the bargain to get them out as
Well,
we will.
think about this. How transparent are we? I know you guys talk, Mr. You and Mr. Motivator. Y'all talk to each other often and encouraging one another. Who else in our circle can we be vulnerable with? My personal experiences that I had to find ways to bring not every man I meet, but the right men in my life to become vulnerable and submissive to things that I was struggling with, thinking, emotions, uh, lust of the flesh, and all these things that I was compromised with. And I had to allow this stuff to be released out of me so I can trust the atmosphere of the people that I was trying to talk to and connect with. So I needed that fellowship of people around me to embrace me. Now, if I don't get embraced, I can't really just shut down and be this loner, if you would. I have to find another person or groups of people to help what embrace me through the change process. That's going to help me break the silence. But some people can get so offended, especially men. We get so offended, we put up this wall, and it's difficult for us to bring this wall down based on being hurt by maybe one individual. It wasn't the whole church, it wasn't the whole job. It was two or three people that offended, and we began to put a wall against everybody because it was an association of a label that those people were associated with. So it's everyone against me, against the world type mentality, right? Would you say that's true, Mr. U?
Yeah, man, I would say that true. That's why I was kind of like chuckling a little bit
Yeah.
because it is true. I found myself being guilty of that myself, and I really don't know what it is. But I guess it's just a self defense mechanism. We feel like if we've been attacked, so we go into putting this wall up, or we feel like we gotta put our guns up and come out shooting sometimes. But I think to answer your other question, I think it's about consistency, and building those relationships of just
Mhm.
being comfortable with opening up. I'm a real stickler and big on building relationships because if I don't trust somebody, I mean that's another big word, trust. What I'm saying? Building that trust and feeling like, hey, I can, like, if I open up to Carl about a certain thing, having that trust that he's not going to, take it and run with it or throw it back in my face to use it against me or something like that. You know,
Right.
um, it takes a lot of those elements, man. But I think as men, when we do feel that, we do put that wall up. We feel like, sometimes if it's nobody that's near us that we can trust or somebody in our home that we can talk to, we do find ourselves dealing with stuff internally, which is, of course, not healthy and not good. But, I think it's best that we do find some type of outlet, the best. I ain't gonna say the best way we know how, because sometimes the best way we know how might not be good. But I'm just grateful to have those relationships with other fellas in the community that reach out to me and that I can reach out to too when I'm going through something. So and those guys, it didn't happen overnight. So I had to meet these guys and see them 2 or 3 times before I even like really start dapping them up real strong. You know what I'm saying?
Most definitely. Yeah, most
You know
definitely.
what I'm saying? So it takes those relationships, man, and that trust. So,
And now I'm gonna have to read this before I get a whooping. Stephanie wrote something in the comments, so we got to read these comments. She said something about mindset. So she said mindset. And I think that's a big thing, mindset, and it's how you view things. Like, you trying to be my brother's keeper. What do you view being my brother's keeper is? Because everybody's mindset is different.
That's
so
true.
How do you view it? Like, some people can have strong views on it, and some because it comes from upbringing or something. Somebody might not know. So how do you view it?
Well, you know what? I met a guy at church that I've been seeing him around for a while, and we really hadn't had dialogue, interaction, and
right. But you've been seeing them a while, though.
Yeah, most definitely. And been
all I do is like that.
And today, there was just this altar call at prayer, and I went up, we was praying with and for each other, and after service, I said, hey, let's exchange numbers, right? So we can get to know each other and build this brotherly bond outside of the 4 walls, so that we can grow throughout the week together versus just see each other in passing the church, but we don't never really interact for fellowship. And now, because you never know where a person is at in their journey and living life, and what's happened within that life's journey as well. So getting out of that norm of weekly seeing somebody in church service, it'll break the silence if I can get them off somewhere else. We can build that trust relationship like they were saying earlier. What do you think, Dr. Mason?
My life experience has been that the people that I've been open to are the ones that have hurt me the worst. So there has to be a committed relationship to God, with God, so that you could hear him encouraging you that you're better than that, and not charge them for it, but make it a lesson. Make it a lesson and keep on going and keep on being vulnerable. Being vulnerable is not easy. You really got to be anointed to be vulnerable.
He said anointed.
you need Holy Ghost power to be vulnerable. I'm telling you.
Right. You gotta have some strong discernment. You gotta have some strong discernment these days, because like I agree with the doctor. You know what I'm saying? There's been times where I've been vulnerable in relationships, and the partner would, or the female would, you know what I'm saying? Like, she would like use it against me. So that would like cause me to like not open up to, you know what I'm saying, other people, you know what I'm saying?
Or whatever, yeah.
Right. So that's, you know what I'm saying? That's how men are. I thought we talked about that earlier.
Yeah. My perspective has grown to the point where I recognize just because they hurt me does not mean I have to allow their hurt to dictate how I deal with my life.
That's key. That's key.
That's what I've learned through all of this. I had an experience with a young man that I was helping out. He needed a place to stay. So we talked it out. I gave him a certain amount of time. We're going to do this. And he got into this argument on his job with one of the supervisors, but not his boss. And so because of his past experiences, he was just about to lose it. So they called me, said, can you come get him off the job? So I go, stop what I'm doing. I go pick him up. On the way to the house, he loses it. I mean, he goes off on me. I'm coming to pick you up from a situation. You taking it out on me.
Wrong person.
Car in the middle of the street, and I said, listen, I'm helping you. You're not helping me.
Yeah.
Everything I'm doing for you is because I want to. And guess what? I want to because I'm a good dude, not because you got anything to offer. I'm a good dude. I'm not going to stop being a good man just because you mad. I'm not going to stop being a good man because you said some ugly words to me. I know you don't even mean it. Do you know that relationship got stronger because I refused to let his mentality about himself, which reflected on other people, how he thought about what they thought about him, change me? That's the place where we got to get if we want to create this community where men can feel like they're actually having somebody that's helping to keep. Because keeping you does not mean I'm telling you what to do. It means I'm going to help you sustain yourself till you get to where you need to be.
So that's how we hold each other accountable then.
Yeah.
We give them the information that we know that's possibly toxic and give them possible solutions. Meaning, I'm not going to allow your response to become my responsibility. I'm not going to let it
Exactly.
internally affect me to the point that now I am feeling or thinking a certain way that I have to change how you think and feel. My accountability is to let you know that, hey, that wasn't kosher, that wasn't good for us to kind of come out like that way. However, if you're dealing with some things, that's great. But here, I'm still here for you as a big brother, as a mentor, as a leader, as a guide, as a friend. I'm still here for you. However, hey, this don't work for us when we're talking like this. That's holding a person accountable without sounding as if I need to beat it in you, right? We can't beat accountability into a
No,
person,
no, you can't.
right? We can nurture it in them, but I can't beat it in them, right? So that's beating with words, emotions, actions, behaviors, and things like that, right? So it's all this eclectic type of situation. We're bringing together solutions to what evidently appear to be a problem. When you think about emotional intelligence, building emotional intelligence, how do we go about establishing that when we're trying to build this relationship? Here we are, we're vulnerable with this person, having to break the silence. How do we get men to identify what is emotional intelligence and how can it be cultivated as a man?
It plays a part of being truthful though.
Okay,
Truthful,
truthful.
truthful and honest with yourself. Because a lot of us are not truthful and honest with each other. I mean, with ourselves. You gotta be truthful and honest with yourself first, and stop
Okay,
telling this fabricated stuff about how you are, and making this thing up about yourself. Be real with yourself. I think, and that way we can see a way out for you. When we're talking to you, and then we having a dialogue with each other, and with the truthfulness, the outcome will be even better. Because I've ran into some guys, and we'll talk, and we're how you gather with each other and talking, and they say, well, yeah, so and so, yeah, we exchange numbers or whatever, we exchange numbers, yeah, we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that, and the minute you call them, they don't even answer the phone,
you
or the,
don't answer the phone,
or the minute you call
not
them,
picking up.
they send you the voicemail. You like, but you had a good conversation, you thought everything was on up and up, and I'm finna build on this relationship because what they saying. But when they talking, all they doing is talking though. It's all it is. It's talk. So how you gonna go to the next level if they do something like that?
Right. What do you think, Dr. Mason? How would you
You
respond to
wait
that?
for them.
Wait
You
for
wait
them.
for them. Yeah,
Patience.
I've been doing transitional living for men coming out of prison and jail since 2013.
Right.
And one of the things I've learned by experience in dealing with men is that oftentimes, instead of me giving them instruction, because that's what they're used to in the correctional system, they're
Mm-hmm.
told what they can do, they told what they can't do, they get wrote up for this, that. And so if they feel that same environment, they will not trust you. They will
Mm-hmm.
not be vulnerable with you. So sometimes you got to wait it out until they recognize, okay, I got a friend here. But also I create an atmosphere where I'm not just telling them what to do. I say, hey, you got a couple of options here. Let's think it out. You could do
Got
this,
options.
you could do this, you could do this. I'm going to respect your choice, whatever you choose to do. Now, if it's the wrong choice, you also got to be willing to receive whatever consequences and repercussions come with your choice. It can't be nobody else's fault. You got to own it. These are your choices. This is what you can do in this situation. You tell me what you're going to do. We're going to go with that. If it don't work out for you, you may get another opportunity. But if the consequence of your choice takes away the opportunity, I need you to recognize you chose it.
And yeah, that's not even the final decision. You can also choose to do a next right choice. Mr. Yu, let me ask you this question dealing with emotional intelligence. Are we afraid of vulnerability?
I mean, I think it's a good percentage of us that are, you know. And it's crazy because I was on this panel yesterday talking about black empowerment, and somewhat of that same question came up. And I think that when it comes to vulnerability, a lot of us have been scarred by it. by being a vulnerability, like opening ourselves, because it already takes a lot for us to do that, right? And when we do it and when we're burned by it, it kind of like puts us in this shell. But I also think sometimes it takes us cleansing ourselves of a lot of the things that we think vulnerability is, and kind of like refueling ourselves with the proper way to be vulnerable, And I
Right.
think
Okay.
a lot of it comes, a lot of it has to do with, I don't know. It just goes back to trust. Like when I think of vulnerability, it's like for me now, it's like I have to trust the person. I have to take the time out and have the patience to get to know a person before I open up and tell them like certain things about myself. So I can't say that I'm necessarily afraid of it. It's just that I'm
You're
more
cautious.
cautious with it when going into it and doing it.
Okay, I like that. Listen, the audience has put some posts in the chat there. They want everyone to chime in, if you will. Just send us some ideas and thoughts that you have out there, and you're listening to us talk about my brother's keeper. One of our listeners asked this, had this phrase or comment, said, "Words are just words without action. When the actions don't show, doesn't mean when the actions don't show what it means, they are not serious, but sometimes it's timing." And as Doctor said, patience. It's timing and patience. I agree. Your actions have to follow your words. Now, this one thing I want you to think about with men in general, I believe, as my journey has continued to pursue, is that sometimes it may take time for my actions to align with my words because I mean well. This statement in AA, they said that people don't judge you by your intent; they judge you by your actions, right? So, but sometimes my actions take time to realign with what I'm intending to do because change takes time. So we talk the good talk, but it may take time to restructure, recalibrate, and redirect the steps to align with it because again, we're fighting this inward battle within ourselves, and it's a daily submission to this higher power called God to get us back on the right path to think differently about how we are wanting the vision to be complete, but our steps got to be still ordered by the Lord. Am I right
Right.
about that, Dr. Mason?
I want to say something on what Sister Portia was talking about as well,
Yeah.
because what oftentimes people will say things in the heat of a moment and later on think about it and say, maybe that's not what I really want to say. But
Right.
they're having that inner dialogue. See, inner dialogue is almost a death sentence. What I mean by that, people have these conversations inside that they never get outside. And so they will have had a full conversation, made a resolution, and then come
Mm-hmm.
talk to you like you were part of it.
Yeah.
And so oftentimes we got to give people an opportunity to change their mind because they'll recognize, okay, I did say that, but I hadn't thought it through. I was mad. Or I did say that, but my mind was on trying to get back with her. Or I did say that, but I was trying to figure out a way to because I felt like he was trying to keep me from my kids. These are some of the excuses I heard. But then later on, they'll be like, oh, okay, now I see what you're saying. You
Yes.
got to allow people time. Patience is the key. You got to allow people time to process their decisions and give them an
Yeah.
opportunity to change it if
I
necessary.
agree. Mr.
And I think
Motivated.
sometimes that's best to give somebody that time, because I think with that time, they have that opportunity to, depending on the effect of whatever the situation was, it give a person time to calm down and respond, you know, to respond in a mannerable way. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes when a person is, I mean, you never know what a person deal with. This person gonna have so many things on their plate, or they probably be having a bad day, and somebody say the wrong thing, and it's just like instead of them taking that time to, you know what I'm saying, calm down or process or whatever, so they respond so quick, and then there goes the whole thing. They done said something they didn't mean, and they got to come back and apologize for it after they done had time to think about it. So I definitely agree with the doctor on that.
Most definitely. So, Mr. You, our audience is chiming in. Let me ask you this question, though. You about to share. You deal with a lot of men, and one of the comments is takes time to unlearn. How do you deal with men who are stuck in unlearning old behaviors into new when you're motivated?
Oh man, that's a great question, and I do deal with a lot of men. And Cara know that because we do a lot of men empowerment events. I speak with a lot of young men doing youth empowerment events, and how I deal with it, man. Like I said, just being an open ear, being an open ear. Sometimes solution is not needed. You know, so sometimes it's okay to just let a person vent, being available. You know, and just being understanding what a person going through, letting them know that look, it's going to be okay, no matter how harsh the situation looks right now. You know, reaffirming them that God does have all control. So it don't matter what you can be going through right now. Like it's going to be okay. And I think a lot of men, once they realize that, because sometimes we can feel like we under attack, man. We can feel like we
Right.
under attack by our friends, our family, our spouse, our kids, whatever, because we have so much on our plate, right? So just letting a man know, like, look, man, it's gonna be okay. Look, don't it's not as bad as you may be thinking it is from looking at from the surface of it, right? So I mean, I think that's where I try to be. I try to be that listening ear, but at the same time, let my brother know, like, look, man, it's gonna be okay. This too shall pass, you know. And I'm always here. I'm always here, and just reaffirming those things to to the guy sometimes it really helps.
Okay. Mr. Motivate, what do you think? Add to that.
Um, okay, yesterday we was with the urban specialist. Me, Portia, and I we went to a prison in Texas, out in Texas, about 2.5 hours away. And we talked to the guys. It was a ministry. We was joined a ministry out there in uh, Tennessee, Texas, somewhere in there. Um, went to a prison. It was
Tennessee Colony. Okay.
yeah, it was amazing. Um, the guys out there, man. Just reasserting that that you can do it. Believe in yourself. You know, God got your back. You know, it, it's like they was being vulnerable to us. With they didn't know us, but they was being vulnerable to us, to an unfamiliar face. When
Yes.
they act like they say that, damn, we can talk to them. We can talk to them. We reaching out to them. I felt that they was, and one guy just started crying right there. I was talking to him, he was just crying. Just reaching out. I said, you got it, man. You got it. You the leader. You can change. You can do whatever you got to do. Your past don't go to with your future.
Yeah.
You be a better person. Whatever choices you made, before you got in here, change it up. You can do something with yourself. And man, it was just amazing that you just listen just that listening ear can be a lot. And he was just
Amen.
and just hugging, just that hug that they need. 'Cause, like, we don't know how good a hug feels as a man, because we don't get hugged. You know what I'm saying? Like an
That's
actual
true.
hug from another man, and you'll feel like eh, I'm serious. Like, just a hug from another man will make you feel so good. It make you feel like a little boy inside.
I agree with that.
A grown man, you feel like a little boy if you got a hug, because something is missing right there with you. I don't know what's missing, but something is. But we're gonna try to gather all. We're gonna gather everything in you with this hug, and so you can come out a better man.
Amen. One of our listening audience wrote in here that how difficult is it for a man that didn't grow up with a father to be close to other men? How do they learn this? Can you answer that? Can you give us some feedback on that, Dr. Mason?
Well, in our culture, mostly through gang membership, that's how they learn it. And
Hmm.
those brothers, they cut for each other, they kill for each other, they die for each other. They even have a saying, bros before garden tools. That's them building a camaraderie.
He said, "Garden too."
Yeah. I heard 304, right?
Doctor,
Yeah.
you
That's
heard doctor.
that's
You heard
brothers
doctor.
building a bond. That's what they're doing. They building a bond. And I want to also testify to what the Mr. Motivator said, because I go into the prisons as often as I can. And one of the things I've become to so many people is dad or pops because of the hug.
Yeah.
That's when you find that the little boy really does come out in them. And so one of the techniques that I utilize in dealing with men who are suffering with that right there, uh, I talk about the GPS system. Powerful thing about a GPS system, it never asks you where you got off or where you been.
Right.
It
Tell
wants
you
to
where
know
you're
where you
going.
are now to take you to your
Where you
destination.
going?
It
Yeah.
care less about how you got off, which road you went. Well, let's not. Well, backtrack. Let's see what that. We do too much of that in Christianity. We like to take people into their past where their sickness is, instead of starting from where they are and informing them that where God has called you to, there is no sickness anymore. The blood of Jesus will wash all of that clean. So let's talk about where you want to go. Let's
where
develop a
go.
vision for a future. Let's get your eyes single so your whole body can be full of light. And that part right there, the spiritual aspect of it is what makes us brothers. It's not because I was genetically born into the same family. It has nothing to do with that I have the same pigmentation of skin that you have, or grew up in the same church you grew up in. But by spirit, by the spirit, you can connect to anybody. Anybody. I'm gonna say this. I don't know if I should, but I feel it, so I'm gonna say it. I had a young man come to me at the prison, and the Holy Spirit was just moving strongly, and people were really being blessed, and folk was just, being taken down by the Holy Ghost. And this young man come up to me. He said, Mason, he said, I'm gay. I said, yeah, you can see it. He said, but he said, I'm not sure if I should get prayer to have it removed. I said, you don't need prayer to have that removed. He said, huh? I said, no, sir. I said, do you love what you do? He said, yeah. I said, until you find something that you love better, you'll always do that. Prayer won't change that. It's your desire. Once you desire something different, you'll do something different.
That's
I like that. You have to replace. Yeah. You have to replace the thing that used to be your heart's desire with that new desire. It's like being married and you go through a divorce or separation. If you don't get that person out of your system, you always long back for them, even though you replaced them with someone else, but you never broke that love bond, that soul tie with them.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with holding on to those fetishes, dealing with even homosexuality or lust in the flesh. Most definitely. God will deliver us, but we have to also be willing to give up that thing that we want to be delivered from, for sure.
That's good. That's good.
When we're thinking about creating this social network of people, this My Brother's Keepers organization would bring men together from different platforms. So we welcome men from all type of struggles, because guess what? Just because I'm not in the struggle right now, don't mean I hadn't been through the struggle, or may not even experience it again in the future, right? So we need others to help undergird us, to bring us through. So we need this to build and maintain a meaningful connection with people. Like these brothers here, I haven't met them individually, personally, face to face, but now we're building a social network of platform through social media to get to know each other, so we can build a deeper relationship with each other, right? That's how things should grow. And it should be a touching base. So let me ask this question. How often should we probably, as men, connect with other men so we can grow throughout our week, other than just that one day we maybe on Sundays and stuff like that? How often should we connect with someone in order to start breaking these patterns?
I connect with somebody every day.
Every day?
You know what I mean?
Look,
For real, it's like every day.
We doing it now, but
right.
We can reach out. And I know Mr. U, he knows all the tools where we can reach out to people. So just say it, but whatever. I ain't got the tools, but I can reach out. I got the mouth. But anyway, we talk about it. We talk about being there for brothers and not wanting something in return. We got that's how we do it. Be there for a brother and not want something for return, because somebody could be getting you a good. It just sounds too good,
Sounds too good to be true.
It's too good to be true. He wants something, but we really don't want nothing. It's this brotherhood to reach back and lift somebody else up. So that's why we can keep reaching back. And the only thing I want somebody to do after I reach back, mine is free of charge. I reach back, I bring somebody up. Only thing I want in return for you to reach for another brother and bring him up.
Yes.
That's it.
Each one go out and reach one. What do you think, Mr. U? Is this how we do it? Every day?
I think it just I mean, one of my mentors told me that it's just like, you should reach out to somebody and tell your story to every day, or tell somebody what it is that you're trying to accomplish or achieve along your journey every day. I don't, if I don't reach out to somebody, or even if it's not a dude, or it's a female business partner or coworker, or somebody that I network with, you know what I'm saying? It's like every day is like, it don't even have to be over the phone. It can be a text message or inbox message, or saying a kind word under somebody else's picture on Facebook. You know what I'm saying? It's like every day you should practice this. You know what I'm saying? And I think once we get so to that point where we can do these things every day, it becomes the norm, right? And I think it's so many people. That's what we need. We need healing, man. We need to get over these past traumas and things of those natures. And with that practice of reaching out to somebody, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy because I'm gonna tell you this, and I know I've talked to Carl about this. I know I keep saying me and Carl talk, but we do. We brothers, So we
Right.
reach out, and we got a situation, we reach out to each other, we see each other at events, and we get so excited. But I tell people all the time, you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to, you have to find it in yourself to just, be okay with, you know what I'm saying? Just being that person that, because I think it's a lot of times like we reach out to people, and we got, my thing is like, I hear so many different stories, I hear so many different situations, and sometimes it can be overwhelming, right? But it's like I have to accept and be comfortable with the calling or the position that God has put me in to be that motivation or be that inspiration to my brother. You know what I mean? I just feel like I just feel like that's utterly important. You know what I'm saying? To be that vessel that people can look up to and feel inspired by, or feel motivated by, or know that, okay, I can talk to this person and it's going to be a genuine conversation. Because I think that's just what's needed.
Yeah, okay. I like that. What do you think, Dr. Mason?
I think what he said is very powerful. One of the things I would stick a pin in is it just slipped my mind.
Come on, doctor. You got it. You got it.
Right.
Encouragement.
That's what I was gonna say. Thank you. It's practicing compassion perfects compassion in us. Practicing compassion. That's why a daily activity, a daily reminder, a daily mode of operandi. I operate like this on a daily basis. As I practice it, it becomes perfected. And I think that goes along with what he was talking about as far as it becoming natural to us. It becomes first nature so that we can continue to grow. Because until we've reached the apex of fulfilling all that God is inside of us. Did y'all catch what I just said? Fulfilling all that God is inside of us. Because if he's omnipotent in us. If he's omniscient, he's omniscient in us. If he's omnipresent in us. And most of us
definitely
usually focus on the finiteness of our humanity instead of expanding on the divinity that's on the inside of us. And when we practice and become perfected in certain areas, it gives us an opportunity to grow even the more. That right there can really seal the deal when it comes to a community like this. This community has to begin to understand its spiritual dynamics and aspects. Understand that you are a spirit. You're not just a flesh and bone body. What you see in the mirror is not necessarily who you are internally, but who you are internally can shape the experiences you have in your physical life. I heard a saying from Reverend Al Sharpton back in the 90s. I heard him make this statement, and I've carried it with me ever since. He said, never lose the power of self-definition, because who you let define you has the power to confine you. And so one of the things we want to build in a community like this is not setting precedents to telling people who they are, but helping them discover so they could tell us. And that way they remain in freedom. Otherwise, you find yourself, and I've been guilty of it, you find yourself making prototypes of yourself, and then you become their source and resource instead of them learning how to be an individual on an equal level with you. So that's, to me, that's the key factor. I've had many spiritual sons, but my endeavor was for them to see me as their brother. We're on the same playing field. I'm not holding nothing back. I'm gonna pour into you everything I got, including my mistakes. I'm gonna pour all of that into you so that we rise up together. And after a while, you'll see places where you can help me just like I'm helping you. If we would do that, I think the leadership principle has been taken so out of context. Even spiritual fathering has been misused and mistreated so much. If we would
Right.
stop trying to
Right.
always be over somebody and learn to grow with people,
Right.
brotherhood would be established.
Right. I can go with that most
But
definitely.
then,
And
doc-
go ahead.
then doctor, I know you finna say something, but I'm sorry. But does it go back to the Bible, like Cain and Abel? You know, Genesis 4:9 with being my brother's keeper.
Am I my brother's keeper?
Mm-hmm.
So who asked the question though? Was it Abel or Cain?
God.
God asked, where is your brother?
Where is your brother?
Cain asked the question,
Cain.
am I my
Cain.
brother's keeper?
Mhm.
Let's flip that around. Would Abel have asked that question?
No.
So the thing is for us to identify with being an Abel instead of always focusing on the Cain, because whatever we focus on the longest is what's going to be the strongest in our lives. So I don't like to preach Cain to the brothers. I like to preach Abel to the brothers, because they need to know that they can give life to a situation that looks impossible and be their brother's keeper. Yeah. So it's a matter of the concept, the perspective, the mindset, you know.
Exactly.
That makes sense?
Yeah.
Mindset.
Go back to that mindset thought. Great conversation tonight, gentlemen. You know, the audience is chiming in. We have some people that's listening in with us and giving feedback. And one of the thoughts we want all of us to kind of chime in on is that if you reflect on a younger you, you know, here we are, we were wanted to be taught certain things to be a man, if you will, and we wanted that brother's keepers mentality around us. We probably had it in a context, but what did you need that was not provided?
Man, that leadership.
Okay.
That leadership. Just coming up, if you don't have that leadership, you out there just searching. You searching for something. You know it's something, but you don't have that leadership. And like for me, I didn't have that guidance that I needed. You know, from another man's perspective, I had to make a lot of mistakes on my own. Just, I was strong-minded. Is the only thing. I had a lot of common sense. Is the only reason I got after it. Plus, at a young age, I got myself into counseling. You know, to see what's going on inside. So whatever on was in, I need to know what was going inside of me, not outside of me.
Yes. Okay. So most definitely that aspect of looking on the inside of you and not having a leadership on the outside allow you to seek that guidance. Okay. Most definitely. What about you, Mr. U?
Man, that's a great question, bro. It was so much because I was one of those kids. I grew up in foster care, so you know, I went a lot of different periods of my life without my parents, you know, and just having so many questions. So I think you know, as a kid, I went a long time with just unanswered questions, man. Just, you know, my dad, you know what I'm saying, me being the oldest son, you know, so I just felt like it was a lot of things that, you know, he was supposed to pour into me at that younger age, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, I had to, you know, look at things and get mentors and, you know, really seek out wise counsel on, you know, how to grow up, you know what I'm saying? How to be a man, you know what I'm saying? And certain things to do and not do, you know? So, I mean, that's what it was to me, just, you know, growing up with all of these unanswered questions, you know, from my dad, from you know what I'm saying? So it was tough for me, you know, and I speak about those things a lot now, which I'm still learning how to do, like open up about those things, telling people my story. And it's hard sometimes just reliving all of that stuff, man. Like, you know, I've recently written my first book. So, you know, to even do that. So I had to channel and tap back into a lot of those memories and things that I've saw, what I'm saying? And just wondering why me, but now it's like I can understand why, like, God was building my story to empower and motivate somebody else. But at the same time, still, like, I always, wonder, like, where was my dad? Where was my aunties? Where are my, what my mom's siblings was at? Why we had to go through that process? But now I can say, man, I thank God for that. I thank God for all of those unanswered questions and all of those times where my parents are missing, because it made me independent. It made me
Yeah.
stronger. What I'm saying? It made me look deeper within myself and find out what I was made of. What I'm saying? Find out what my purpose was. So I just feel like if I could have had those answered questions, man, it's no telling what my life would have turned out to be. I'm happy with who I am today, but sometimes I still had those thoughts in my mind, like, you know, and it's crazy because my parents are still alive. Both of my parents are still alive, and we really not close. We still don't have a really close relationship. But sometimes I do wish I could have had those questions answered.
Okay. What do you think, Dr. Mason?
I would be repeating what they said, except for the fact that I grew up in a two-parent home. I was raised a fourth generational preacher. My dad was a preacher. His dad was, but one of the things I feel like that was not provided was that platform of transparency. There are things that my father protected me from that he should have talked to me about. And so oftentimes, in our endeavor to shield, we also leave it open, or the possibility of the person that don't understand what you're shielding them from, don't know the details of it, to end up reliving it or recreating it themselves. Because
Right.
there are some things, had I known that and understood it from my father's voice, it would have had an effect on the voice in my head and the things I chose to do. And so that's the thing I thought was mostly missing, is that, the protection was good, but there needed to be another way to deal with the experience, so that I was not left out of the understanding of it. I needed to know. I didn't need to experience it, but I did need to know why you were protecting me from it, so that I wouldn't grow up and then do something like, oh, that's what you was talking about. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So that was the thing I thought was most difficult.
I was raised in a single parent household. My mom and my dad stayed in Pleasant Grove. We in Oak Cliff, but I never saw him. So most definitely there were a lot of things that I had to learn from the street men, in my community, that were focusing around bootleggers and marijuana use and other drug use and all these things that would comprise my community. And these men taught me survival skills, but not how to become a healthy male, healthy man. They just gave me these tools that helped me to survive on the streets, but I didn't know how to survive in life, right? And although I was around the church as well, again, I believe that Dr. Mason put it well, that the church shields everyone when they come into the fold from not being exposed. Well, we need to be not exposed to, but we need to be um, educated about things that possibly are going to come our way and how we can respond to it. We need to talk about early sex. We need to talk about early vaping. We need to talk about early, even just monogamous relationship. We need to talk about education and finance that are very interesting to know in the community I grew up in. Because when I got a job, I spent every dime I got versus, okay, how do you diversify this check so that you can begin to save something over here for prom? Because so you won't be asking mom for prom, but you done made $800, but it's all gone on alcohol. So I didn't get those tools, most definitely. And my goal is to shift those to my kids, give them tools that they need to learn balance, work-life balance, right? So that they can know how to make healthier choices than I did because of lack of guidance and nurturing, most definitely. As we go forward, we're almost done tonight. I mean, good conversation, good topics, good feedback, but we want to learn how to thrive in living and not just survive in living, right? We want to thrive, we want to grow, not just survive. I call it, I don't want to exist no more.
Mm.
right? I just don't want to exist. I want to live,
Hmm.
right? Wholeheartedly, I want to live for my purpose that we're called in. What do you think is a difficult conversation to have with some men who are wanting to open up with you uh, about change? What is that difficult thing you think most men have a difficulty really talking about when they're
I mean,
trying
I think
to
it's
open
just
up?
I really think it's just overcoming a fear. You
Just the
know,
fear. Go back to that word fear again. Okay.
I mean, that's what I see with so many guys. I mean, whether it be relationships, whether it be family life, work, whatever, it's just is a fear of just operating in your truth. You know what I'm saying? And being okay with not having someone to confirm who God told you you are or who you are in Christ. Like operate in that and stand on it and be okay and be strong in it and be okay with it. You know what I'm saying? It's like seeking out it already takes a lot to look within yourself and find out who you are, but once you find out who you are, just eliminating that fear of operating in it, like go for it, so make that jump, you know what I'm saying, and just be you, and not being afraid to be you and not nobody else. It's like I see a lot of guys, they so easily to imitate or emulate somebody else. You know what I'm saying? Like be you and not and don't be afraid to be you. It don't matter how many people, down talk you or joke on you or hate on you or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like you are who you are. You are who God made you. And stop being afraid of that. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing that I learned at an early age in school. You know what I'm saying? Because like I had my whole style about me early, and a lot of
Early
kids
on.
they didn't understand it. You know what I'm saying? So they
Hmm.
probably would joke on me about it, but it's like I told them, I said, just because y'all joke on me or whatever, I'm still gonna wear my sunglasses. I'm still gonna be in here with my pants pulled up, with my shirt tucked in. I'm still gonna be me. Right. And I stood on that. So today it's like a lot of those kids, they're adults now, but they look at me like, oh man, look at Drake, look at Mr. You now. It's like, yeah, I am who I am. And
Uh-huh.
9 times out of 10, they want to emulate and be like me. But
Now,
I mean, in other words, I'm just saying, man, just don't be afraid to be you. You know what I'm saying? Like find your individuality and stand on it.
yeah, and I'm gonna use that word. Don't be afraid to be different. You
Right.
know, set your own trend. Because you matter most definitely for sure. As we get ready to wind down, and we want to just kind of focus on bringing things to the cultivated mindset, being my brother's keeper. How do we really look at this concept of how we uh, go forward with developing men to become healthier fathers, be healthier mates, be healthier servants. How do we continue to cultivate men? We're our brother's keeper. If I see a brother struggle, I'm struggling too if I'm not helping them because I'm going to allow them to fall. So that means when I am falling, no one's going to help me either. So I've got to be willing to help even the least of them, if that makes sense, right? Even the least of them to undergird and pick them up. So, how do we begin to focus on, as we get ready to close for the night, cultivating this change to become more healthy overall, mentally, spiritually, economically, to bring men into this fold of change? 'Cause we want men to be followers of other healthy men for sure. And even as we mark in a perfect man, this person is doing things in a healthy way. If they do something that may be out of order, don't mean that their whole life is out of order unless they just stay in that way. Know that anyone can pick themselves back up, get back on the gird of the mentorship that they have with these other men, and go forward. Versus just because we make a mistake, we withdraw ourselves as if we're exempt from making the same mistake. You know, we are our brother's keeper, meaning we go beyond the call of duty to make sure that no one is left behind in this journey of life that we're striving in. So, if you were to leave words of hope and inspiration to our audience who have been so gracious to join us tonight and give us some feedback and comments and the listening ear, what would you say that we need, um, that men need to do, actually, that men need to do to begin to stay consistent in the journey that they're they're wanting to walk in that's new.
Lead by example.
Lead by example. I like that one.
And I would
Lead
say,
by example.
your word is your bond. Your word is your bond. And
Yeah.
your honesty, and having that moral about yourself, and have that dignity about yourself. You got to, guys. I'm telling you, whoever's listening from 5 to 95, it don't matter who's listening. You got your word got to be what you say and what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Word is born.
What do you think, Dr. Mason? You're on mute.
He on mute.
We
He's still
can't hear you right now.
doctor. You gonna have to type it in.
He having a whole conversation.
I get.
Dog, he laughing. We wanna know what he's saying.
You gotta type it in.
Still on mute there. So my thought is that also be okay making mistakes.
Uh-huh.
Just don't live in the mistakes you make.
I mean, I agree with that, because the thing is, Doc, we're going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
And like I tell my kids that I speak to, it's like, so you're going to make mistakes, and you have to understand it's going to be hardships in life. You know what I'm saying? It's like life is not just going to be straight and narrow all the time. It's like you're going to be sad, you're going to be mad, you're going to be happy, you're going to be joyful, you're going to be excited. You're going to have all these different emotions. Life is going to happen, right? Life is going to happen, but just, shoot.
It's just what it is. Dr. Mason, did you come back on?
I think I'm here.
Okay.
He was on mute.
You was on mute, man.
I saw that. So I guess the thing I would say is be open to developing new norms.
Oh man, that's clear.
New norms, okay.
New norms. Yeah, the stuff that we see as normal now, or it may, as some people say, it's your ceiling. Give yourself a deadline. In 3 months, that's going to be my floor. I'm going to develop a new norm, which means I got to be willing to be in a position of vulnerability and to practice something different. I may get ideas from Mr. U, I get ideas from Mr. Motivator, I get ideas from Dr. Marcus, and then I start keeping myself in that place and in that mentality until that has become a new normal for me, so I can keep reaching higher. So that growth factor.
I have a question though. I have a question before we go. I know Stephanie came back in, so that means our time winding down. But I want to know, where do we get our stubbornness from? Where do we get that trait from, being so stubborn and just always looking at our brother as like some type of competition, or looking at them like if they got something that we don't have, we just automatically just don't want to confide in them, or don't want to like, you know what I'm saying? Like, where does that come from in the male gene?
I'm going to say this in respect to men in general, that it's cultivated more than anything else, because no one is born. They said men and women have the different traits when they're born, but you're still taught how to respond to life. Mm-hmm. You still respond to life how people teach you how to respond. Early on, when people playing with toys and they're giving and taking in reference to sharing, this is mine, we have a stubbornness that are there because it was just us with the item. So someone come take it, we have a natural reaction. And we're taught how to be either possessory of things or sharing with the nurturing to other people. But we're given those traits or tools. And I think if they're not honed in early stages, they grow up to be us as being adolescents and teenagers and men as core beliefs. And they begin to dominate us.
That's right.
I think that's something we definitely need to check that, because it's like, I don't know. I just feel like if another man or somebody has a sound piece of advice, we just close our mind to it, or not even just take it into consideration. It's like, I see that amongst men. Like, say if a man is out in the community doing events, practicing leadership, it's like other men just, I don't know. It's like they just won't show up. It's like promoting something to men or getting men to come out for something for them. I just feel like it shouldn't be hard, but it is.
Yeah, that
As
And I've been
Dr.
trying to,
Mark
and for years I've been trying to figure out what is it.
man,
as Dr. Marcus said, it's cultivated. It is a social cultivation. And let me be a little graphic here. It dates back even into slavery, where they would treat people in a certain hierarchy, and they would not like the others. I don't care for the person in the house because they have a different. I'm treated different in the field than the people in the house treat. That thing was groomed into us to always look at other people as less than us for whatever reason.
right.
And so the grooming of it continues in our politics. It continues in our economic system. Did you know I was doing some studying on economics and learned that they set the system up so that somebody has to be poor for it to work?
You think?
I'm going to always see you as either better than me or less than me, and I'm going to compare myself to that. But I love Jonathan McReynolds' songs. Comparisons kill. That'll wake you up. But once again, it's one person at a time at this point until we get a group of people that are in cohesion with that thought pattern. Then we can have a bigger effect even on a community, and then an even greater effect on a region of people, state. But
I'm gonna add this other thought, as we get ready to wind down. I was listening to someone talk the other day, and they made a great comparison with slavery as well. They said that women used to put negative stigmas on their sons, like demasculate them.
They still do. They still do. They still do that.
Hold up. I'm trying to tell you how I believe that when they said the statement, I agree with them, is that they emasculated their sons because the slavery block looked for strong men, not weak men, to sell. So they emasculated them so they wouldn't be sold as a part of this property, be taken away from them. So they made them look weak, unavailable to do certain things, and crippled them in a way emotionally so they won't be taken away from them. And it became this trend, if you will, because it became generational. So it started somewhere. Not that they still do, but it started somewhere in order to protect them, but it also ended up hurting them. Does that make sense? Yeah. So we have to break cycles, and we have to break the curse of the family that has passed down things from generation to generation if we're going to teach men how to be their brother's keeper over the lifespan.
Hey, Stephanie, we're going to have to bring this back and do part 3 because I got some more questions for the doc.
That's
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like I'm curious. I want to know. I want to talk about being a sensitive male. You know what I mean? Like it's so much more stuff I want to talk about. And I think it's being a sensitive male. I've had a chance to talk to some of my elders a few days ago, and they opened my eyes up to being sensitive. And there's some things I just want to talk to the doctors about on this call, so maybe whoever can hear this, I mean, they probably want to know too. But being sensitive is okay. And maybe the next one that can be a topic or something. So we can like open up and enlighten some people about it. But I think it's important.
Okay.
We have
sensitive and selfish. And being selfish. I don't want to talk about our guys being selfish.
Okay. Good topics.
Okay. So what I was thinking to myself as you guys were talking, because I remember last month, the conversation was so in depth and so good, just like the conversation tonight. I've actually been thinking about starting another podcast on my channel for men. So what I think we should do, because this is the second one on the 4th Sunday of the month, why don't we just, if you guys are willing to commit to every 4th Sunday, we do a podcast for men, and you guys can come up with your topic. Let me know what the topic is going to be. And then every 4th Sunday, how about we have my brother's keeper?
Right. I mean, I agree. I think we should, because like we talked about earlier on this this interview right here, was Consistency. I mean, you can't do something one or two times and expect for it to be effective. You got to show.
Yeah.
You got to be consistent. You got to create an algorithm with it and keep it going. You know what I'm saying? And keep praying that it continues to touch whoever it needs to touch. Because for one thing, we all can agree on, and I know we know this for sure. It's a lot of us, we need healing. It's a lot of stuff that's been going on in the economy and just the world the last 5, 10 years. It's a lot going on, man. We need these type of discussions. So
Mhm.
I'm with it.
I think it's the only way you're gonna get change. Cause
Yeah.
we talking about it, and like you say, consistency. If you consistently looking at it, consistently getting on Stephanie's channel, and they see it and promoting it, and it just keep going, it might go viral, and then maybe everybody will listen to it. Maybe they'll start
Yeah.
going into schools. Maybe they'll put this on in the classroom.
Right.
These sessions in the
And then
classroom.
they tell they'll be looking forward to it.
Yeah,
It'll be men
Most
looking
definitely.
because this might be a lot of them. This might be their only outlet. This might be the only place they can trust to come to. They look forward to every fourth Sunday. You know what I'm saying? You just never know. You can just keep it going and being obedient to the assignment.
yeah, especially for people
Yeah.
that don't know coming up, they don't have the fathers in their life that don't know, and they don't
Mhm.
they seek something, and they can seek something out of one of us, 4 guys or 5 guys that sat there, they whatever they see, and they can go with the flow, go with like what we tell them, kind of teach them,
Yeah.
and elevate them and encourage them and educate them, to better themselves. That's
Okay.
what I
Amen.
Well,
I like that.
you guys heard it here first. It looks like we have a new podcast that's going to be airing every fourth Sunday on the platform. The men's conversation called the My Brother's Keeper, and whatever topic
Check.
they have for it will be what it is. But this platform is healing, empowerment, and transformation, and that is what the goal and the focus is. So you heard it here. Next month on July the 28th, Sunday, July the 28th will be the fourth Sunday of the month. And the guys will be back. The team, My Brother's Keeper, will be back with different conversations that they will be talking about here. And so, 7 o'clock, July the 28th, we will promote the event. But Sunday night, July the 28th, we will be having another episode every fourth Sunday. So make sure to tune in. Go ahead and lock it in on your schedule. You can also follow up and replay and tag and share the link. It's on my YouTube channel, the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show. If you go to YouTube, you'll be a link there where you can share it. And if you know a young man that needs this guidance and needs to be able to see this, please share it with him. Like, tag, and share. Thank you guys so much for coming onto the platform tonight. I
I want to say
really,
one more thing before you cut us off, Stephanie. I
yes,
want you
sir.
guys to go and support. Go to Amazon and search Innocence Taken. That'll be
Yeah,
my first publication, my first time being published as an author. Is co-authored with Stephanie herself. I'm so excited. And I just want this book to touch many. I know it's going to save lives. I know it's going to touch hearts. And I just pray that you guys support it. And, Stephanie and I, we poured our hearts into this project. And you guys just definitely go check it out. I hope it really touches somebody's heart and blesses somebody.
All
already.
right.
That's
yes.
right.
We are very excited. The book will actually go live tomorrow. Tomorrow is July the 1st. The book actually goes live. We will have a live book release Saturday, August the 3rd in Fort Worth, Texas at the Dock Bookshop. It is going to be a very big book launch, I'm telling you.
It really
So
is,
please,
though. It's
yeah,
crazy.
it keeps growing. So, Dr. Marcus, Carl, I hope y'all will be in attendance, but please, the Innocence Taken released tomorrow on all platforms. Dr. Marcus Wade actually had a book released here almost 2 weeks ago now, and
Okay, that's what's
he
up.
published
The
through my
mentee's guide.
publishing company.
Yes.
I'm so proud of him with the book that he had published. You want to talk a little bit about your book before we close out?
Yeah, mine is a mentee's guide, rediscovering
The
self.
mentee's guide. I like
Yeah,
that.
most definitely. So just a guide for people that need leadership and direction in their lives and knowing how to develop their own inner tools to seek out a good mentor for themselves and to ride out the wave or that time frame with that person And if the one person will work, you find another, but we have to have others leading us into the next destiny that we're going into. So
That's a
it's
fact.
a powerful reading for people who really want to get out of their stuck place and latch on to someone that can take them to a place that they can envision themselves being.
Absolutely.
And it's right in line with what you guys are doing tonight as well. And so very excited to have all of you here. Carl, did you have something to say, Mr. Motivator?
I'm the
The
motivator.
motivator.
So the motivator guys, you guys want to book me at there? I can start it up for you. Motivate your crowd. Get it with it don't matter if it's school, college, business CEOs, CFOs. It don't matter. I can come to your house and motivate your family. I get them up at the seat. But
Love
Carl, Carl,
Listen,
I
Carl is
come to your
serious.
house and motivate your family. Don't negative
Listen,
nothing.
no negative, nothing.
Carl is serious.
Carl,
Yes,
He is
Carl.
serious.
Carl Roberts. My brand is Rise and Elevate. My brand is Rise and
That's
Elevate.
right.
My mom, no negative, nothing. You can reach me on Facebook at Rise and Elevate, all one word. Or I'm on TikTok at Rise and Elevate, on TikTok. Or you can email me
Yeah.
at Rise and Elevate CR. That's Carl Roberts, Rise and Elevate CR at gmail.com. Thank you. Thank you, Stephanie, for
Yes.
having me. I appreciate it.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you.
That's
Thank you.
my
Thank
bro
you.
right there, for real.
Again, you can find our new release tomorrow on Amazon.com, as well as Dr. Marcus's book is available as well on Amazon.com.
Innocence
Arthur,
taken. Let's go.
please look us
Let's
up,
go.
follow us. Thank you so much. Tomorrow, if you're in the Tyler area or if you want to drive in tomorrow night, I will be at the Kingdom Church. I have been invited to speak at the Kingdom Church. So it is a women's event. 6:30, Sis Thrive Ladies Night Out. Meet me at the Kingdom Church in Tyler. It is 1818 North Confederate here in Tyler, Texas. Look to see you all there. Thank you, thank you, thank you, guys. Hold tight. We are out. Y'all have a good night.
Thank you.
Yes,
If
sir.
you would like to be a guest on the Stephanie M. Seaton Sunday Show, email Stephanie at stephaniemseatontheauthor@gmail.com.